Hey guys, me again, you know who I am, and today I'm gonna pick up where we left off, and this will be the last episode of the beginner's walkthrough for Warframe, mainly because after this we're gonna be all caught up for now, and these videos take way too long to make, and on top of that they kind of don't really, nobody kind of watches them, which is understandable. So anyway guys, let's just get on with this. So for the Master Rank 5 test, all you do is hack terminals. That's literally all you do. It's almost not worth mentioning. In fact, when I was editing, edit this video, I totally forgot about this Master Rank test because it's so like a non-factor. The only one that might give you trouble is the very last Corpus one, where it's the bigger ones. And the only tip I can give you there is you solve the outside first and connect the lines, then you solve the inside. And that makes it super easy. Like the Grenier one doesn't even have the reverse modifier on it like you see in the high level missions, where they bounce from the change orientation every time you push one in. So I don't even understand the point of that test. On Uranus, for the 5 melee only missions, the best place to do this challenge is the capture mission, because those are the fastest. However, if you encounter the napalm target, which is the orange heavy gunner looking dude, what you want to do is just abort the mission and restart, because that napalm does an extreme amount of AoE damage, and our gear cannot handle the sheer amount of damage that target puts out. So we're gonna want to head and redo, see if we can get a different target for that mission. For the Neptune junction boss, we have the Loki boss, and Loki boss is there's nothing special about him. Just shoot him like normally. He doesn't have a lot of health or shields or anything like that, so just kill him outright. Okay, so now we're gonna start the second dream. I won't spoil any of the plot. However, if you don't want any spoilers at all, go ahead and skip ahead to this time here. But what I'm basically gonna show you is, if you don't skip the skip, I'm gonna show you what choice you should make, because it's kind of important at the very end. So if you don't want the ending spoiled for the second dream, go ahead and skip ahead now. Alright, so for those of you who are struggling to find the bones, what you have to do is go around the ship on this side here. The minimap doesn't do a very good job of showing you that this is actually a path you can take. What you want to do is break through here and head into this area. Once you're in this area, you just want to go up and you're here. However, don't worry about this too much, because after a few minutes, I believe it's like 11 minutes or so, LV will just straight up tell you where they are, because he'll get kind of frustrated and stop playing Marco Polo with you. So don't worry about it too much, but just to speed up the quest a little. So once Lotus tells you to remember a school, you need to pick either Zeneric or Narman, as the other schools aren't really worth your time, as Zeneric has a passive ability that lets you regenerate energy like per second passively, and it goes up to like what, 5 energy per second I believe, or something like that, which is crazy high and much better than full stack of energy siphon ever could hope to do. So that's very good. Also, there's the other school is Narman, and Narman has a passive ability that lets you basically become invisible once you critically hit with your melee, which is really strong, since melee stealth multipliers are multiplied. Basically, your damage is multiplied by what, 8. So that's really strong. So just choose one of those two. There's another school that might be worth your time, and that's the Vazarin school, which has a passive ability that allows you to get instant revives, but it's like only like 3 per mission. So that's up to you if you really want to go down that route. But other than that, the other schools aren't really worth it, and they're not nearly as strong as Zenark or Narman. So basically choose one of those two. After you beat the second dream, you'll get the Broken War, as well as a Scar Sigil. Now, the Broken War is the best sword in the game. Longsword, however, the thing is I value having a corrosive AoE blast that heals you over having the highest damage. So that's why I stuck to my guns and went with the Skana and its augment over the Broken War. But if you pick the staff during the tutorial instead of the Skana, you're gonna want ahead, and the Broken War now is effectively your melee weapon now. So go ahead and use that, as it comes with a free catalyst on it. So once it hits level 30, you'll have 60 mod points on it. So that'll work. All right, so after we beat the second dream, we're gonna gain access to the moon, also known as Lua. And in the moon, there are various different puzzles, and if you complete the puzzles successfully, they will give you drift mods. Also, the sentients do spawn here. If you piss off the Oculus and just like hit them, or they just scan you, that will summon sentient combat units, and then they will come and attack you. And the Conchalists, which are the melee units, they do the tornado. They're the ones that drop Vengeful Revenant, which is a super rare sword stance. So if you come across that, and then go ahead and keep that, or maybe even sell it, because it's kind of worth a lot now. Now these puzzle rooms are not hidden throughout the level, so don't go looking for them. You'll basically run into them to and from the objective, or into extraction. So don't go looking in side rooms for the puzzles, as they're big rooms. So don't worry about trying to go look for them. They'll come to you, and if you don't see one on your way to and from the objective, that means it hadn't spawned there, because it does not have a 100% spawn chance. So do be aware of that. All right, so on Neptune, we're at the Hyena boss, and the Hyena boss, basically the easiest way to beat them is to kill Hyena TH first, which is the dark blue one. And despite what the wiki says about him, he deals magnetic damage, not electricity damage, which means he's gonna proc magnetic on you a lot, which means you're basically gonna have no energy for the fight if you don't kill him really fast. He's supposed to do electricity damage, but for whatever reason he doesn't do that. So yeah, and also your shields will be halved and your screen will be scrambled, and obviously you're gonna want to kill that annoying son of a bitch first. And after that, just kill the other ones. The other ones have like different elements, like one has cold damage, one has heat damage, and one has shotgun pellets. So they're not really as annoying as the Hyena TH. So also, if you're doing this boss fight solo mode, instead of fighting all 4 of the Hyena, you're only gonna fight 2 random ones. It just could be any 2 of them. So you might not even fight the Hyena TH, which is the really annoying magnetic one. So it's a lot easier to do this on solo mode. And on top of that, they have less health, and their level is lowered. So if you're gonna want to farm, like say Loki parts, you might be better off solo. But if you got a group of friends, then might as well do it with them. So now is a good time to go ahead and level your Arcwing to like level 30. You don't have to, but I'd highly recommend it. And now is a good time to unlock the tier 3 section of the Void. So I'll do ahead and do that. Now the best place to level up your Arcwing is the Arcwing Mobile Defense on Neptune here. And that gives you like the greatest XP gain from Arcwing missions. It's also gives you more XP the more people you have in your squad. So if you have a group of friends that need your Arcwing leveled, go ahead and do this with them, as this is going to maximize your XP gain for Arcwing here. Now for the Pluto junction, we have Excalibur, the Excalibur boss, and there's not a whole lot special about him. He has quite a decent amount of armor, but other than that, there's nothing really protecting him. He has a blind, but it doesn't last very long. And he does have Exalted Blade, but he probably will never use this against you, so... And he won't be much of a problem to you. Now that we're on Pluto, we're going to want to get to Huracan, because Huracan is the best solo XP and mod farm in the game right now. Use this to get your essential mods, like your multi-shot mods like Split Chamber, Hell's Chamber, Barrel Diffusion. Go ahead and use this mission for that, as well as getting XP for your weapons. Now what it only takes one 2000 Cryodex run, which is 20 excavators, I believe, or it takes 2 separate 1000 Cryodex runs, which is 10 excavators in 2 separate missions, and that will get your weapons to 30. Now for the boss fight on Pluto, we have the Ambulas boss, and Ambulas, actually, if you're at this stage of the game, you've actually already encountered Ambulas before, and he, as you know, he drops in the wild, and he drops from dropships, and basically you need to treat him the same way you do a Bursa. So you need to just kill him. But unlike a Bursa, you need to hack him in order to get his nav beacons. You need his nav beacons to unlock to go to the boss node to, you know, get Excalibur parts and stuff like that. And the only real difference between him on the boss node versus him dropping in the wild is basically in the boss node you have to defend him for a certain amount of minutes until the dropship comes and picks up the hacked ambulances. And That's basically all you have to do. And if you're playing the boss node on solo, the mission gets significantly easier, as you only have to defend 4 Ambulus units instead of 6, and the only time he'll more than 1 Ambulus unit will spawn is on the final wave. So as long as you're successfully hacking your Ambulus units, you won't have a problem with this mission at all. And the level of the mission is lowered by 12. So instead of him being like a level 52 or something like that, he'll be level 40. And what mostly you're gonna want to do is just strip his armor, and on his armor can be like destroyed without having armor strip. But basically his weak points are all over his body, where his armor just is destructible, and you can shoot it off. Like the parts on his rear that kind of look like butt cheeks, you can shoot those off, and that does a lot of damage to him. So that's what we're going to shoot him and how to fight him. If you think you're going to fail this mission, what you want to go ahead and do is abort the mission. This way you won't lose any of your nav beacons. But if you do actually fail the mission, you will lose 40 nav beacons, which is a good 8 runs. And that's how much it takes to, fight him once, which is pretty bad. However, if you do successfully complete the mission, you get 20 nav, which is basically half of the nav beacons you got just to fight him. So you get half of your nav beacons refunded. All right, now the best place to farm Ambulus units would be either Outer Terminus or Narcissus, which is the exterminate on Pluto. Now, Ambulus only spawns on Pluto, and he only can spawn in on the open tile sets, not the closed ones. So, and you can tell which tile set is which on the mission in navigation due to the way the thumbnail is tinted. So, if the background is tinted blue, then that means it's an indoor tile set with the airlock and all that nonsense. However, if it's a white mountainy looking tile set, then it will be an outdoor tile set, and only in those outdoor tile sets will Ambulus be able to spawn in. So keep that in mind when you're looking for Ambulus. Alright, now for the 2 junctions here, it is best to do the Aerys junction first, as a Sedna junction has the hardest junction boss in the game, and has a potential one-shot kill. However, I did the Sedna junction first because I just happened to have all the stuff done for it before I did the Aerys junction, but Aerys junction you should probably do first. Now for the Aerys junction boss, we have Mesa. Mesa doesn't do a whole lot of damage, so just treat her like any other junction boss, and just go ahead and just stun her. Just magnetize her if you're using mag. Just do a lot of damage to her. She doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, even with her regular laser pistols. So yeah. Now for the Sedna junction boss, we have Saren. Now Saren is the hardest junction boss in the game, simply because she has a huge potential to one-shot you if you don't have a decently leveled redirection or vitality mod. If you're not running any of those, then she's just going to one-shot you and you're going to die instantly. As well as she can actually attack faster than you, so once the shield goes down, she can actually kill you before you can even raise your weapon. So what you want to do is go ahead and quickly head over into cover on the right or left hand side, and then once you see her hitbox peek out a little, what you want to do is use a finisher move on her, or magnetized if you're using mag. That way she'll shoot herself, but it's easy to just use say teleport with Ash or radio blind with Excalibur, and that will stun her and it'll leave her open up to melee finishers, and melee finishers will just one shot. Otherwise, she does an insane amount of damage and she'll kill you very fast. Now on Aerys, the only things you should really be trying to unlock here on Aerys is just the Akkad node, which is decent for XP, even though I don't really use it for XP. It's decent, and there's a lot of people that run it, so I mean there's that. And also there are quests related here that unlock that give you boss nodes that will give you Mesa and Atlas respectively. The Jordas Precept quest, at the end of that will give you Atlas parts, and the Patient Zero, which after you finish that quest you'll get keys to do the Mulus Alavi Assassinate, which will give you Mesa parts. Now the Atlas boss is the Jordas J3 Golem, and that is an Arcwing boss, so it's kind of difficult, and he has a very high amount of health. So before you even try to get Atlas, you should probably have a fully leveled Arcwing with a decent damage build on your weapon. If you don't know what a damage build is, or if you don't know what crit build or status build or any of that kind of build, I have a video on that which will show you what those mean. And I also will show you how to former your weapons, which is former is basically sort of like a prestige system. Instead, it cuts like a certain type of mod cost in half. That's all explained in the video, so you should probably watch that video before continuing on this video. Now, let's head to the derelict here and let's go fight Lefontis. And Lefontis is a Dark Souls-ish boss where you have to fight. He has 3 different heads, and you have to, and his weak spot is in the pink fleshy parts. That's, like I said, those are his weak spots. And once you defeat all 3 heads, you have to do, basically once phase 2 starts, you have to do it all over again, but basically on a larger scale, where you fight his whole body. After that, like, it's easier, much easier to do this boss with friends or like with help from recruiting chat, because Lefontis isn't terribly strong. However, I don't recommend a new player doing this solo. And if you're doing this with friends, you might as well just do this with friends, because it's easy. This is where the Warframe Necros drops from, and Necros is a good Warframe, especially if you're gonna be farming for things, because he gives you a double chance at a second chance at loot drops. So that's very good. So I just went ahead and farmed Necros, so I don't have to fight this boss again. Okay, so now that we're at Sedna, it's probably a good idea to do the missions here to unlock the tier 4 branch of the void. Now, it's completely unspecified in the game, but in the tier 4 branch of the void, the enemies are level 40, which is the highest level branch in the void, and also they do 3 times damage. So I kind of wish they like specify this in the game. But a long time ago, in the enemies here, you were like level 100 to level 115. So like now that the level's down, they have 3 times damage to compensate for that. So this is gonna be hard, and the only reason you ever want to do the tier 4 branch is for like a quest requirement, or to farm for your toxic dual stat mods from Captain Vor. Other than that, it's probably not a good idea to hang out here, but that's up to you. Also, we have 2 XP farms here. We have Barahemia, which is good for in a group. They're like dedicated roles for that XP farm. And there's Hydron, which Hydron I find is very good for leveling up Warframes. I am hanging out there if I want to level up my Warframes really fast, and I do it to 20 waves. However, I tend to stay with the group, and if they're gonna leave at 10, I'll just leave at 10. It's whatever. Now, if you want to go fight the boss here, which is Kela De Thaym, you have to go through the arenas. Now, you don't have to do all 3 of them apparently, but you need to get enough points to fight her once. Now, if you do all 3 arenas once, you will be able to have enough points to fight her twice. Now, the arenas range in levels from like level 40 all the way up to like 80 and 100. They get and each tier varies in how much points you're rewarded. I believe the first tier only rewards you with like 10, and then 15, and then 25. And you don't need nearly as much points as you do with say Ambulas to fight like Kela De Thaym. So that's pretty good. So if you just do like the tier 3 branch, I think once, you'll have enough to fight her, which is fine. But that's level 80 to 100. You also have a random modifier on that arena, and you won't have your sentinel there. So you're gonna have to pick up loot manually in that mission. It's sort of, and they're gonna be using the PvP maps in the game. So be prepared for that. And enemies are kind of tough, and they do a lot of damage. And they all have like their own separate little gimmick. It's much easier to do this in a public group or with friends. So be cautious of the arena. Now for Kela De Thaym. Now Kela De Thaym is a kind of a strange boss. So to get into the boss fight, other than like there's a plate you have to stand on, and then you have to shoot the green button. And you have to do all that while rollers are just rolling all over you, staggering you, trying to get you off the button. But once you do get on, you sort of the same thing where in the arena, but that's after you beat her in 1 or 2 phases. Now, Kela De Thaym can one-shot you. In fact, a lot of her attacks can one-shot you. All of her explosive attacks will one-shot you, and she also has very high armor and shields, but they can be stripped away from her. So go ahead and use whatever armor strip you have, or you have a decent status weapon if you're using the Bratton Prime. High armor and shields, I'd highly recommend you do this in a public group. However, doing this in a public group makes the only thing it makes harder is the entrance, where you have to get multiple people to stand on the plate and shoot the button without the roller staggering you off. So there's that. Now, after a phase, Kela De Thaym will go up into her office, and she'll call down a missile strike. And after the missile strike is over, you have to do the puzzly thing again, but you have to do it on all 4 sides of her arena. And if you don't do it in time, she'll call down another missile strike, and you'll pick up where you left off from the puzzle or whatever. Now, before the War Within, you need to get all your builds in order. You need to trade for the augments I recommended. Except for the Volcar one, you don't exactly need that one. Instead, what you want to do, if you actually have that augment, you're going to want to replace that with a Hush mod. Because I'd highly recommend you take a silent primary weapon like into the War Within. Mostly because it makes it significantly easier. And you should also get familiar with parrying. Now, if you don't know what parrying is basically where it's sort of like Dark Souls, but instead you hold block, and then right when they hit you, you channel, and then they get staggered, and this opens the enemy up to finishers. You should probably get familiar with that, as that's the only way you can really deal with the sort of last boss. Although I wouldn't really call him a boss, I'd say the last enemy in the quest. Now for the War Within. Okay, I'm gonna do another spoiler prompt, so if you don't want to be spoiled at all for the quests, go ahead and skip ahead in the video. But I'm gonna guide you through the hard and the important hard parts and the important choices in the quest. So if you don't want any spoilers at all, go ahead, skip ahead. If not, let's begin. None of the moral compass choices affect anything other than dialogue in that quest. I wish they affected more, but sadly they just don't. So there's nothing we can really do about that. Now, when you drop down into the bone pit, this is the hardest part of the quest. This is by far the hardest, and it took me a good hour or two just to finish this because it was so goddamn hard. But what you want to do is obviously not touch any of the bone areas, and take the path that I take. And you want to go ahead and hug the left here. There's a little tunnel in here, and this is totally safe from the Golden Maw. Now, after you do that, now you're gonna get into this rock, and once you get in this rock, the distance traveled between rock to rock is gonna become much, much bigger. And so what you're gonna want to do now is you're gonna want to have to sprint, and then right before you hit the rock, you're gonna want to jump, and this will give you like a little bit of distance up on the rock, and that works out really, really well. This is pretty effective, and this caused me not to fucking take an hour on this goddamn quest. So like I said, sprint, and then right before you reach the rock, jump. That's all you have to do to finish this part of the quest. Once you take the following path. Now, when the Kuva Guardians are summoned, what you have to do to defeat them is they have a damage immunity, and to remove that damage immunity, what you have to do is Void Blast them. Then you have to dash through them with your Void Dash, and this disarms them and it removes their damage immunity, and they'll switch to their Blunderbuss pistols. And you'll know when you've done this correctly when you see the red seal on their stomach. And after that, what you do is just damage them normally. Alright, so when the time comes, you're going to have to fight Teshin, and the only way to fight back against him is other than you two staggering each other. What you're going to have to do is parry his attacks and then attack when he's stunned. And that's how you're going to be able to do decent damage to him. You only have to do this twice, but just parry him. And after you finish the quest, you will receive the Broken Scepter, the Orpheus Blueprint, the Grineer Queen's Glyphs, and a Rifle Riven mod. Now what you want to do is you want to sell the Riven mod in trade chat, because at this level, your Riven mods are not going to be useful to you at all, as they give you they're a very high cost mod. They cost like 18 points, and it's for a random specific weapon, and the mastery rank requirement is also random. So it's most likely going to be mastery locked at a much higher mastery rank than you currently are, and those stats cannot be changed. So after you unveil it, so I just recommend you sell it. But you can reroll the stats on them, like the mod stats on them. Like for instance, if it has ammo maximum and you want something different, you can roll it and you can randomly roll into something like damage or multi-shot or something like that, crazy like that. And rifle ribbon mods right now they sell for 60 platinum, so go ahead and just sell those. Veiled, don't unveil it, but if you really want to unveil and see what weapon you get, what you have to do is you have to then equip the weapon into your correct weapon slot. Then what you have to do is take that same weapon you equip the ribbon on into a mission, and then you complete the challenge. And after all that, now you have unveiled your ribbon mod. There you go. After this, you're all caught up, and you have unlocked Kuva missions, Kuva siphon missions, which allow you to get more Kuva and re-roll ribbon mods, but they're not going to be useful to you anyways, so don't worry about those. But other than that, what the Kuva siphon missions involve is basically fighting Kuva guardians, and basically you need to collect Kuva, which you can gain by once they spawn in, they'll make a weird, crazy noise, and then once you get to it, you need to void blast it or dash through it and to collect it, and you need to collect that 4 times. To destroy the Kuva siphon and collect your Kuva. But now, other than that, you've unlocked sorties, which are a series of 3 high-level missions with all the missions have a different modifier on them. And then once you complete those said missions, you get a random reward, and the rewards depends on the season or whatever. And they all vary from the level will vary from 50 to 60. 70 to 80, and then 90 to 100. So just be aware of that. You've unlocked that, and you've also unlocked to do nightmare missions, not to be confused with nightmare alerts, because nightmare missions, they have a modifier on them, and their levels increase and the enemy capacities increase. But if you complete them, you get a random nightmare mod, and these are pretty good because they're the one nightmare mod you definitely want to get is drifting contacts. Go ahead and do that. But anyway, guys, that's all for me. Hope you guys enjoy this series, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.